What happened to the girl in this photo is terrifying.
In 1961, a young girl was spotted floating in the sea. Crew members of a very large ship decided to pull her aboard. The girl's name was Terry, and how she came to be lost at sea is shocking. Turns out she had been aboard another boat with her whole family, and the captain of that boat attacked them all. To get rid of her, she was just left out to sea. They thought she would eventually drown. But Terry actually made it to a lifeboat, and she sat in that lifeboat for 4 days with no food or water. When they found her, she was severely burnt by the sun, and the sun also bleached her hair bright blonde, but she did end up surviving. For more 7 Sins Crime, remember to hit the plus button.
This is why you need to look behind you before taking a selfie.
The innocence of this picture makes what happened even more haunting. 3 friends stand on railway tracks, hoping to capture the passing train on the tracks beside them. They took a selfie and were really excited to get the close proximity to the train. The wind was even blowing in their hair. But do you see that light? That is another approaching train. Now, the girls couldn't hear that train on the track because they were so close to the other tracks and the other train. However, it was 12 seconds from when that photo was taken before the train made impact. Now, the train driver reportedly tried to blare his horn, but they must have assumed it was another train. 2 of the girls died on the spot and 1 later in hospital. For more 7 Sins Crime, hit that plus button.
If you haven't seen this photo on the internet as of late, this is just moments before 12-year-old Emma Brown took her gun and used it on her father and then herself. Last September, Emma and another 12-year-old friend devised a plan to murder Emma's family and her pets and then run away to Georgia together. Shortly after this photo, she then proceeds to shoot her father in the stomach and then run toward her driveway to take her family car to meet with her friend about 230 miles away. It's believed in this moment that Emma might have panicked and then shot herself in the process. The thing that's raised a concern is, as of right now, Emma's friend, who hasn't been publicly identified, is believed to have planned the entire ordeal. One of the biggest discussions as of late is that Emma's family had no idea how her and her friend had actually met, but she has been arrested and charged with a conspiracy to commit murder. The father did end up surviving the incident, but now conversations are being struck throughout the entire internet about whether or not parents know who their children's friends are. The police have also raised concerns and reports blaming social media for this occurrence. So the question now is, was this a preventable incident?
How did this woman go from looking like this to looking like this?
This is the very heartbreaking case of Charla Nash. One day in 2009, Charla received a call from a friend. Her friend's pet chimpanzee named Travis had sadly escaped from the house and was running loose in the neighborhood. Now, Charla had known this chimp for years, and being as kind as she was, she offered to help lure the chimp back inside. Charla arrived at her friend's house, not suspecting the danger that awaited her. As she approached Travis, the chimp suddenly turned on her, and with a ferocity that is beyond belief, the 200-pound animal mauled her face and hands, causing devastating injuries. In a complete panic, Charla's friend made this call.
911, where's your emergency?
This is Katie. What's the
What's the
Send
problem?
the police! Send the police!
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend!
When police arrived on scene, the chimp was shot, and Charla was rushed to hospital where she underwent multiple surgeries, including a face transplant. Despite medical intervention, Charla did end up losing her hands, her eyes, and her nose in the attack. She was also left completely blind and disfigured. Now, this incident completely shook the community. It received widespread media coverage, ultimately raising awareness about the dangers of owning exotic pets. For more 7 Sin Crime stories, remember to follow. This video may look like a group of friends just going out to get takeout. But trust me when I say something much more disturbing is at play. This is the devastating case of Mary Collins, a 20-year-old girl who disappeared in the early days of the COVID lockdowns. Now, due to COVID, her case didn't really get the media attention it deserves. But I do warn you, the brutality of what happened to her is shocking. On the 28th of March 2020, Mary headed out the door and got into an Uber to head to a friend's house. Her friend's name was Levi Pham, this guy, and he was a high school friend of hers and a former boyfriend. Mary was also going to meet his now girlfriend, Kelly Lavery, this girl. Now, Mary was special needs and she actually had a syndrome that impaired her ability to move around, but she was lonely. And so when Lavi and Kelly asked her to go hang out with them, she thought they were just being friendly. Now, it's important to note that when she got there was another guy present. This guy, James Solano. Now, all of them sort of went out to go get sushi, and that was the video you saw posted by Levi. You can see them walking into his apartment. You can see them all walking to the apartment. But sadly, Mary would never walk out. Now, Mary's family knew she'd gone out to meet some friends. They were immediately concerned when they did not hear from her. They sent her multiple messages and called her a few times. And because of her special needs, they were concerned. Now, Mary actually lived with her grandmother, Mia Alderman. And when Mary didn't come home, Mia went straight to Levi's apartment and banged on his door. Now, the couple, Kelly and Levi, they opened the door and told Mia that Mary had left after they had all eaten sushi. But that did not make sense to Mia. She knew that Mary would have needed help getting home. So Mia went straight to the police and filed a missing person report. Now, due to the circumstances around the case, the missing persons unit were quite slow to respond. But Mia knew that Mary was still in that apartment, and so she continued to turn up at Levi's door. At one stage, the couple even let her in to let her search the apartment, but they did not let her go into the back rooms. All they let her do was do a quick scan. But Mia was simply convinced. It got so bad that the missing person unit actually told Mia that she had to stop harassing Levi and Kelly, that they were doing their own investigation. After some time, the case finally gets the break it so desperately needed. Uploading part 2 now.
Is 9-year-old Amber Hagerman, living a happy life with her mother Donna and her little brother Ricky. A camera crew is following the family on little Amber's 9th birthday. The moments are captured for a documentary that will never be released. But the most disturbing thing about this footage is it was filmed just weeks before her abduction. These will become the last images of Amber Hagerman, the little girl whose name the world has come to know every time we hear an Amber Alert.
Get on the ground!
Hey, here she is!
Got her! We got her!
9-year-old Amber Hagerman, abducted in broad daylight as she was riding her bike. Her tragic story captured the nation's attention and changed the lives of thousands of children. But even if her case remained unsolved for 25 years, her mother vowed that Amber's death would not be in vain.
Amber desperately needs justice. I'm not gonna give up on her. Never.
It's January 13th, 1996. In the city of Arlington, Texas, Amber is over at her grandparents' house with Donna, her mother, and her little brother, Ricky. At 3:10 p.m., Amber grabs her bike and heads out on Highland Drive, with her brother in tow. Before she leaves, she's told to go no further than the street block.
The last thing I told Amber was, stay with your little brother and I'll come right back. She was riding her bicycle. She turns around. She says, okay, Mommy, I love you.
3 minutes later, at 3:13 p.m., Ricky sees that his sister is going further than she's supposed to. He then decides to turn around and head home, leaving Amber by herself. When Ricky arrives alone, his mother Donna begins to worry. She and her father go out right away, looking desperately for little Amber. When last Ricky saw her, she was no further than the corner store, 2 blocks away.
I went screaming, hoping that she would hear me, that she would come home. She was gone.
Amber is nowhere to be found, but one man saw exactly what happened and called 911.
Arlington 911, what are you reporting?
Yeah, I saw a black pickup, and he grabbed a little girl and he took off toward town with her. And she hollered.
I seen that little girl over there playing up and down there, and he run up behind her and grabbed her. He turned around and come right back to here where his truck was, where the door was open, and put her in the truck.
Right away, the police send a unit on site where Amber was abducted, while a search is launched around the neighborhood.
Tonight we had some information to be on the lookout for a black pickup truck. Officers were following every black pickup truck that moved in the city,
But every second is crucial, as the driver could be getting further and further away from the crime scene. At the same time, Donna contacts friends and family to pass out flyers with Amber's picture on it. As neighbors become aware of the kidnapping, the search party grows in size, and more volunteers join.
Before you went out to pick up a man, was there any kind of ritual you went through?
I'd go to the nightclubs, drink, watch the striptease shows, and if I didn't meet anyone at the bars, I'd go to the bath clubs and meet someone there, offer them money, and we'd go back to the apartment, have a few drinks. I'd have the sleeping pill mixture already prepared. Person would drink it, fall asleep, and that's when they would be strangled.
Watching the movie Exorcist 3 was also part of his ritual. It put him in the mood for murder.
I felt so hopelessly evil and perverted that I actually derived a sort of pleasure from watching that tape.
Did you like feeling evil?
No, I didn't. But I had tried to overcome the thoughts, and it worked for a while, but eventually I gave in.
While Jeffrey Dahmer may say things today that make it seem like he understands what went on in his mind, he does not. All he can do is tell you what happened, but he cannot stop whatever it is that drove him to kill in the first place.
Do you still feel those same urges? Do you still feel that compulsion, that obsession?
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but no, there are times when I still do have the old compulsions.
Jeffrey Dahmer says as time went on, his mind became more and more warped, and yet he was clever enough to continue to elude police and lure young men to his apartment. We should warn you, the details are very graphic.
I started having these obsessive thoughts when I was about 15 and 16, and they got worse and worse.
What were your fantasies about?
They were sexual fantasies of control, power, complete dominance. They became reality.
Was there pleasure in that fantasy?
There was excitement, fear, pleasure, all mixed together.
Jeffrey Dahmer fulfilled his fantasies by murdering and dismembering 17 young men. In time, his desires became more extreme, his deeds more grotesque. Listen to him talk about the most unnatural things in the most matter-of-fact of ways. That's when you realize that none of it has touched him.
I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me. At first it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state. By injecting first dilute acid solution into their brain or hot water, and it never did completely work.
Could someone like you be stopped? Could you be helped?
No, I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction.
He became so warped by his evil impulses that he even took a victim's head with him to work at the Ambrosia chocolate factory.
I kept the mummified head and skull of one of the victims in a carrying case in my locker at work.
Were you almost flaunting it?
Yes, but that's how strong the compulsion was. That's how bizarre the desire was. I wanted to keep something of the person with me.
Jeffrey Dahmer exhibited some disturbing behavior early on. He began drinking heavily as a teenager, dropped out of college, was arrested for indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and fondling a 13-year-old boy. Tragically, one of his murder victims would be that boy's brother.
Do you know what started it? Was there any kind of incident that you can remember?
To this day, I don't know what started it. And the person to blame is sitting right across from you. That's the only person. Not parents, not society, not pornography. I mean, those are just excuses.
His macabre 13-year crime spree finally ended when this man, Tracy Edwards, brought the police to the infamous apartment. Like the others, he had gone there with the promise of money.
He was listening to my heart, because at a point he told me he was going to eat my heart at that point. I hit him, and I